Guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Overrated or Overpowered. Just a couple of days ago, we talked about the Autobahn Icons guidebook. Well, we took a pedestrian look at some of the top 3 cars in every single niche, and now it's time for Overrated or Overpowered, where we take a deeper dive into some very specific cars. Now, as always, one random day, in a month, I will always find myself with more time than most where I can really sit down, lock in, and make a video like this. So if you really like the series, if you like the episode, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, or just simply like the video. That goes a long way as well. Anyway, let us get into it. So part 1, and I mean literally part 1, German Powerhouse part 1, we did highlight the 9 cars that you see on the left, and in part 2, we're going to be talking about the 9 cars that we see on the right. Now, I gotta say, I've never just done a one-parter for an update, but I was so burnt out and pissed off with the game that's all I did for German Powerhouse Part 1. Now, honestly speaking, for German Powerhouse Part 2, there's a very high chance that these might only be the only 9 cars, but who knows? I'm a little bit more motivated these days, ironically, because this update's actually worse than Part 1. But I might do a second part, because I feel like there are some cars that we need to take a deeper dive at as well. But aside from that, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the Volkswagen XL1 concept. Handles okay, a little nimble guy, rear-wheel drive. Let's see how well it actually goes. Well, and as you can see here, highlighted at the bottom is basically what the niche is. So this one's just Part 2 standards. And when I mean Part 2, I mean German Powerhouse Part 2, right? The Volkswagen XL1 concept does pretty well in the car park and slalom, as well as G-force. It is hitting above its weight on those 3 track sets. As you can see, it's beating a couple of RQ29s, some 28s, and some 26s. It definitely goes above its RQ range on very specific twisty track sets. That being said, this Volkswagen 90 Buzz Cargo is one of the best standard tire cars in the update in the uncommon range. So I did not add the times for this, because if I did, then it would make the Volkswagen look pretty bad, because it wouldn't have any more golds. Anyway, moving on to the Volkswagen XL1 concept for the German standard tire niche. Another car that's actually pretty damn good is this one right here, the Volkswagen California, which is also from the same update. But as you can see, in the German standard tire niche, that isn't just limited to Autobahn icons, and whenever time I say Autobahn icons, I say Autobahn in quotation marks. These are Volkswagens, for crying out loud. But as you can see, it still shines in the slalom, and it does pretty decently on car park and G-force, where it still hits above its weight against the Mini Coopers, but it does lose against the RQ29s. But hey, I mean, it's beating cars within its RQ, so that's already pretty damn good. Now, overall standard, the Volkswagen isn't that great. Although the Volkswagen XL1 specializes in G-force, car park, and slalom, this is me comparing it to every single uncommon in the game. The best slalom car still goes to the Kara, and here are the 6 cars below it. The best car park car is the Suzuki Kara as well, and here are the 6 cars below it. And for G-force is the Mazda RX-7 with the 6 cars below it. As you can see, the Volkswagen XL1 is nowhere to be found. So it's not really that much of a specialist in a general sense. It's not like Blossom Choice or anything like that. But when you look at the slalom again, and you filter it by less than 27 RQ, so RQ26 and below, then the Volkswagen raises its head. It becomes the 6th best option for the slalom, which is its best track set. So definitely not something to write home about. You still have better options, like surprisingly the Mazda Carol. Someone tell me if this is actually correct. But if it isn't, you have the Subaru Legacy and the Colt Vista as well. And if you want to use an RQ25, the Mitsuoka Ray might be your best bet as well. Anyway, overall, I think the Volkswagen XL1 concept is a pretty decent car. It's a good start to the series as well. As long as you know its strengths and where to use it, just use it for Autobahn icons or anything German for the wet slalom, G-force, or car park, and it will probably do you pretty well. Now, moving on to the second car that I want to have a closer look at is the Volkswagen Golf Twin Drive. A lot of standard tire cars that we're going to look at, because that's the majority of this update, really. But yeah, the Volkswagen Golf Twin Drive, it's 4-wheel drive and it's standard, and it has AT2 handling when you max it out. So, for an RQ50, is this going to be a good bargain? Well, for Autobahn icons, standard tire cars, as you can see here, I don't really think it's that much of a bargain. I mean, it's good on the car park, it's decent on the slalom, and it's also decent on the G-force, but it's not really hitting above its weight in any way. It's beating the super rares as you would expect, but it's also losing to the higher RQ cars, as to be fair, you would expect as well. But nothing out of the extraordinary besides car park. Moving on to German standards over here, again, it does shine a little bit more. Again, it is beating the super rares, which is, you know, the minimum requirement for an RQ50, really. In my opinion, at least. Some people think that, you know, especially Robin, you know, he thinks that an RQ50 doesn't matter if it loses to a 49, as long as an RQ53 beats an RQ49, then we're okay. That guy. Alright, anyway, Volkswagen Golf twin drive does pretty well. Medium car park, G-force karting, slalom, and twisty road. So that's pretty decent, but to be fair, we need to remember that the German standard tire niche is pretty weak, to be honest. Now, moving on to four-wheel drive standard tire cars in general, and as you can see, the Golf, you know, it's still car park, still karting circuit, you know, two tracks it's there. It doesn't really hit above its weight, though. It does even lose to the Mercedes-Benz S350 and City's small twisty circuit as well. This is obviously within this comparison only. There might be a better option out there for twisty circuit and twisty circuit rolling, but the main thing is that I want to showcase that the Volkswagen Golf isn't really the best on those track sets. Also loses to the Mazda CX-7 and the DS Wild Rubis, even the Dodge Caliber. It loses to the Caliber on the slalom, which is where I feel like many players might expect the Volkswagen Golf twin drive to excel on. One thing that I do need to highlight about this car is that it is a Golf, right? And, you know, I myself included kind of assume that when I see a car that looks like this, it's going to be very light. There is some kind of hybrid system in this thing, and the crazy thing about this Volkswagen Golf twin drive is it actually weighs the same as a Bentley. I think about a Bentley, yeah, because in the game view, if you take a look at this car, it weighs about 1,800 kilograms, which is something I would not expect from a Golf, and that probably explains why it doesn't do as well as you think it would on a slalom, because it actually isn't a light car at all. That being said, though, it does well on car park and karting circuit. Around its RQ, you know, it's not really hitting above its weight too much, but hey, you know, it's holding its own, and I think that it's a slightly above average car, one really worth keeping around. Now, moving on is the Audi RS6 Avant Performance. Now, this thing, I mean, it's an amazing car in real life. Like, I would love to own a car like this in real life. And the photo is great, and I think it's a very good looking car. But there's a lot of pressure on this car because it's the only RQ79 Epic non-prize, right? Like, there's a lot riding on it. It's the flagship Epic of this update. So is it any good? Well, within the Autobahn icons, and also, you know, just four-wheel drive, it doesn't start off very well. Hairpin Road and Twisty Circuit is all it really has, and then it loses to the Volkswagen Polo GTI everywhere else. And some people might say that it's not fair for me to compare it to the RQ76 Volkswagen Polo because it has slick tires. Who the hell cares? When you get a four-wheel drive event, it's going to be a four-wheel drive event. And if it's wet, then yeah, you can use the Audi. But if it isn't dry, I mean, if it isn't wet, then, you know, if you have the Volkswagen Polo, it's just going to be the better option to use anyway. So yeah, that is one thing to consider. Now, let's look at the drags over here. The Audi RS6 Avant Performance does a little bit better within its own update. It really is one of the best dragsters, Epic and below, in this update, which isn't saying much, to be honest. It has no MRA. It's got like an MRA of like 68 for crying out loud. The only reason why it's up there with those numbers is because every other Audi is shit MRA as well, and the Audi RS6 has a very low 0 to 60. You max it out 233, it has 2.7 seconds, which is actually kind of absurd. That being said, Audi Epics only. Let's have a look at this one, and from now on we're just gonna be looking at the drags, right? Because that's really its, you know, niche now. The Audi RS6, yeah, I mean, it beats most of the Audis from previous updates. It does lose to the R8 Spider in the longer drags. Also loses to the RS7 C8 from the same update on 0 to 100, 0 to 120, and hill climb. But it is up there with the quarter mile and half mile at least. But the moment you bring in the rear wheel drive Audi, that is going to be the best, right? And, you know, you do get a decent amount of Audi events and top drives, which sucks. But, you know, also at the same time, most of the time when you get an Audi event, it's just an Audi event. It's not going to be an Audi four-wheel drive event, which also means that, you know, if there are any drags, then if you can use the RS6, most of the time you can also use the Audi R8 rear-wheel drive, which is the better option anyway. So that's one thing to consider. Now, let's look at German four-wheel drive and beyond, right? So German four-wheel drive, and then we have some Italian cars in there as well. One Italian car, right? On the dregs, as you can see, it doesn't do very well, right? It's just a quarter mile. That's it. It loses to the RQ72 Mercedes-Benz. You know, the car that should have been part of Autobahn icons instead of Volkswagen and especially Audi. The real OG here, Mercedes-Benz. Remember that, guys? Well, anyway, here it is, 7RQ cheaper, beating out the Audi on the half mile and the 0 to 120 and the 0 to 100. Also, it loses to the Gallardo on the longer drag. So all it has to its name is the quarter mile. That's about it. In a twisty scenario, it gets aced by the BMW M3 competition, which is also part of German Powerhouse, but it is part 1, and the Audi R6 is part 2, so they can be separated. Also, the Porsche Taycan GTS winning most of the other tracks as well. So if you're talking about just German four-wheel drive as a niche, the Audi R6 Avant isn't going to be too great. The BMW and the Porsche are better. BMW and Porsche are always generally better than an Audi in top drives anyway, so surprise, surprise there. And then over here in the wet, in case you want to just argue that, oh, it's four-wheel drive, so, I want to see how it performs in the wet. Sure, go ahead. Even worse. Right, Porsche Taycan, it's the front runner here. The Audi is very, very terrible. So overall, I mean, the strengths for this car, it will always have a chokehold on Autobahn icons. It's a Volkswagen killer, and it's also like another Audi killer. That's about it. But it's a very low bar to be beating Audis and to be beating Volkswagens. It's like saying that I'm in a karate tournament and I won gold, but all of my opponents were toddlers. Like, who the hell actually cares? So yeah, this car is under average, man. It's not that great. It's also decent on a hairpin, I guess. Alright, moving on is the Volkswagen Arteon 1.5 TSI. The only reason why it's in here is because I like the photo. So it's going to get a shout out. But what I did learn from this car is that it's pretty decent on fast circuit. It's a one-trick pony, man. This thing is just fast circuit. So this is update Autobahn icon standard tires. Hits above its weight on standard, beating the RQ36s, the 34s, and even everything within its own RQ. So yeah, fast circuit is really where you want to take a look at this car. German standards. You've lost me, buddy. I mean, it's not too bad. For an RQ33, it is beating out the RQ35 BMW 7 Series, the RQ34 Porsche 924, and some of the cars below it as well. But it will lose to the glorious W212 Mercedes Benz E220 Blue Tech. All roads lead to Mercedes being better. Anyway, moving on. RQ33 and below on the fast circuit. I want to see just how good this thing is, because it's a one-trick pony. It's a fast circuit car. Well, it's like the 4th best car. If you needed an RQ33 for a fast circuit in very niche circumstances, it looks like the Jaguar XJ6 is still going to be your option to go, followed by the Lincoln L2K and then the Buick LaCrosse. But I guess if you need a German car and you needed an RQ33 and it was a fast circuit, then yeah, the Volkswagen Arteon is your best bet. So congratulations. Nah, man, this thing is, yeah, it ain't great. It could be an RQ32. It would be a very good RQ31 even, but yeah, I could see this as an RQ32. It's pretty overrated, man. All right, moving on. The Volkswagen T-Roc R. This car looks really good on paper. It's very light. It comes in at less than 1,600 kilograms, and it handles very well. You would think that a lot of people would have a lot of times for this, right? No, not at all. These are the only times that the Volkswagen T-Roc R is listed for. It's a very niche amount of like dirt, mud, wet mud, and wet mud, just basically just mud, right? And then like, like gravel half-mile G-force test bowl and 1/4 slalom, like that's literally it. And I can't compare it to anything else in this update because of other all-service tire epics from the update. Nobody put in the times, and I can't blame them. Those cars they suck. Why would anybody want to max it and put the times in anyway? So I get that. Okay, so let's compare it to basically everything else. I'm putting it up against great handling, epic all-surface tire cars. Most of these cars can get 89, 90, or even sometimes 91 handling. The T-Roc doesn't look too bad on slalom, and I think the main reason why is because it's so light. The main thing about a T-Roc is not even about the AT handling, it's about how light the car actually is, right? So I think it'll perform very well on slalom, and I can infer that it will do very well in the snow. as well. As long as it's not going against off-road tire cars, it would be pretty decent. That being said, though, it does lose to the Cayenne GTS. I think the Cayenne GTS has its number, and I feel like the Cayenne GTS will beat it on almost every track set that isn't snow or slalom. That being said, I can only infer there are not a lot of times of this car, but what I will say right now is that it's pretty good, honestly. Its strengths includes off-road slaloms, and the main thing about it is that it's just very light. It's lighter than most of the cars it competes against, so I'm gonna say it's good. Not a lot of times for this. I want to put it higher, but I can't because there's just not enough times right now. Moving on is the Opel Omega 7.8, no, 7 what? Omega V8 Corn Concept. Yes, I'm calling it the Corn Concept. I know it says calm. Okay, you don't need to tell me about that. But anyway, the main reason why I want to have a look about this car is because it's a little bit of a sleeper, right? It's got 87 MRA. Well, German Autobahn icons, super rares. It is good. It wins, or it is the best option for the half mile all the way to the test bowl. It is very good. 0 to 170 at DNFs, but so does everything else. And hill climb is the only thing that it loses. Hill climb and quarter mile are the only two things that it loses against. So shout out to the Volkswagen NMC. This is a car that I'm drag specking, and I feel like it's just that quarter mile specialist. It's like the Autobahn Icons version of a 69 Charger, which is ridiculously cursed, but I digress. Moving on, German super rare medium performance cars. It does pretty well here as well. There is an emphasis on estates. The Clubman, the AMG, the S6, and I think this Clubman as well. They're all classified as estates in the game, and it is beating on all of them for the drags. Only loses to the BMW 7 Series on the quarter mile, so that's not bad. Here's general super rare medium ground clearance performance. The Omega is good, but the moment you bring in the American specialists such as the Ford Ranchero and especially the Plymouth Hemi-Cuda, then the Omega is going to be pretty useless. That being said, you take away the American cars and the Vauxhall Omega is okay, but it needs to be limited to medium ground clearance, right? Because if you can bring in low ground clearance, you got things like the Lamborghini Miura or even the 1969 Dodge Charger, which are just going to be better options as well. So, like, the thing about this car is that it's very good actually, but you just need to know where to use it. So, but when it is good, it's not just good on one track set. It's good in the majority of a niche, so that's always great as well. Or it's just good on a majority of a certain type of track set, which is the drag, right? So, Autobahn Icon drags, estate drags, German medium ground clearance drags. Within its rarity, it's gonna be a good car, but in the general sense, it's not that great. That being said, I think it's above average. You'll find some use for this car for sure. Now, moving on is the Volkswagen Touareg RGT concept. From one dragster to another from this update, this is a car that I've been looking with very close intent. I feel like it will be very, very good. Let's see how good it actually is. So, once again, Autobahn Icons performance tire cars, it hits above its weight. It hits way above its weight. It's beating the Epics, man. It's beating a fully upgraded Audi S5 Coupe, right? It's beating a fully upgraded Volkswagen Golf R Estate, even if it's only on one track set, you know? It does lose to the Volkswagen Golf R, but it only took like how many RQ? 11 RQ difference to have a car beat it. So yeah, and it beats everything below it as well, besides the Golf GTI Club Sport on 0 to 150. That's really about it, and maybe the Golf GTI Club Sport S on Test Bowl. That's about it. But yeah, the Touareg R GT concept, very, very good. Very good dragster within the update. For performance tire SUVs, it's also pretty good, especially in the half mile. There's also the 0 to 100, 0 to 120. It does pretty well in a quarter mile, falls behind on the 1 mile a little bit, attributed to its low top speed, but it is beating all the Ultra Airs below it, and is beating some of the Epics above it as well. It's beating the Subaru Forester, the Nissan Ariya, beats the Peugeot Quartz on some tracks. It beats the Audi RSQ3 as well, but it will lose to the Buick Inspire. But that being said, it's hit way above its weight. It's got my respect, man. And then over here, I mean, I wanted to try. I wanted to see where the ceiling for this Touareg was. So yes, I know everyone's gonna say it's unfair for me to put it up against a roof BTR, but I wanted to try. I just wanted to see what the ceiling for this car was. Then we got four-wheel drive performance tire Ultra. It lacks behind this one as well, unfortunately, losing to the Buick Wildcat EV, the Skoda Fabia, as well as the Bentley Flying Spur. So yeah, we had to find a ceiling somewhere, but that being said, it's still a very good car, right? Just put it on the SUV drags, four-wheel drive German Ultra drags, and Autobahn icon drags, and this car it'll do you good, man. It'll do you good. Definitely a 332 kind of car if you ever get it first. Now, next one is the Audi A855. There are a couple of these running around now. Because if you didn't win the Roof RTR, this was your consolation prize. So there are going to be a lot of players that probably have this car, right? So how good is it actually, RQ76? Well, let me tell you, man, it ain't great. First of all, not a lot of times here. It's good on like medium car park G-force. This is just Autobahn icon 4-wheel drive. Not a lot of times to work with here. Before you say that the Audi RS6 Avant Performance is good, because look at this. Let me just show you to look at this. So this is German 4-wheel drive standard. This is outside the update, and then I'm also adding in the RS6. It's only good on the hairpin, man. The RS6 can't even beat the RQ76s and 77s in the wet. So yeah, there you go. But again, the highlight is not even on the RQ79 right now. It's the highlights on the RQ76 Audi A855, and as you can see, it doesn't win anything at all. It's bad. It's very bad. It's so overrated. It's freaking terrible. Alright, last one I want to talk about today is the Opel Astra V8 Coupe touring car. Well, this one, I don't really have much to say, you know? Like, it's a very run-of-the-mill RQ85, as you would expect. Hits slightly above its weight for, like, car park G-force. So, on the top are the only two Autobahn icon cars it can compete against, the Volkswagen Polo and the Golf ER1. It beats these two cars on car park and G-force, beats both of them on indoor karting, beats both of them on G-force, beats both of them on slalom, and slalom rolling as well. Then it loses on a twisty circuit and roads. And then below it are basically cars within its legendary neighborhood. So things like the McLaren 12C, which is a pretty decent margin benchmark, because this is a car that everybody has. It's 1 RQ higher, but the Astra is the better car. Then I put it up against some other slick tire cars like the Bluebird, the Evora, the CTS, and then even a twisty specialist like the Ariel Atom. The Ariel Atom's decent as well. 1 RQ less, wins on G-force, indoor karting, and slalom and all that. But yeah, I mean, the Astra, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad, you know. It's winning on less important track sets. You don't really see rolling G-force and slalom too often, but car park is a good flex. I mean, overall, it's an okay car. I would say it's pretty good even, because it's an okay RQ85, but 85 is it's no slouch, right? You know, RQ85 is something that is, you know, pretty highly regarded already. So especially if it's not 4-wheel drive, because that actually means that it is a genuine 85, you know, not inflated in any stupid way. So yeah, the Opel Astra isn't too bad. Its strengths include the Autobahn icons, always. It's the only, I would say, true track, you know, car from Autobahn icons. The other Volkswagens are just like WRC cars or something like that. And yeah, so it really has a chokehold on that update. It's also great on car park, rolling, slalom, and G-force. So, you know, overall it's a respectable car. But that's going to be it for today, guys. This is today's episode of Overrated or Overpowered. Let me know down in the comments below what other cars you might want to have a closer look at from this update. All I can think of is like the uncommon Volkswagen Scirocco, maybe the rare Volkswagen Scirocco, and the 4-wheel drive slick tire Polo. That's 3 out of 9. So I don't know if I can add even more. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have a great day. And stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville,
Atlantic.
Blonde